Isaac.
This is Anthony.
Today, we are going to apologize for last week, again, for the camera battery dying.
That's right.
Details. So,
Gut
this
health.
week, we're going to be talking about gut health.
Continue. Gut health part 2.
Yeah, gut health. The actual start of gut health.
The actual start of gut health.
I completely forgot the segue that we left off on, too.
I know, and I was thinking, I was like, what was it that we were going to cut off on? Because we were talking about, for me, being in the sauna, why I don't sweat.
Oh,
That's what it
right.
was.
So a lot of times when you're super inflamed, your inflammation is around your guts. So your body takes all that water and basically packs it in around the intestines and everything else, so you can't release it. So if your gut health is off, your ability to sweat is off, your inflammation levels are super high, because your body basically creates this nice protective barrier around your guts to prevent any of that bad stuff from leaking in. So high stress, poor gut health, under eating for long periods of time, restructuring all that, that's part of the reason why you're not sweating, because your body doesn't want to let go of that water. It doesn't want to
Could
release
be
it.
sensitivities too.
Yeah.
Just something simple that you're having is on top of it. I don't think it's one thing. It's probably a lot of stressors.
Because that would be a stressor too.
Yeah,
So that's,
definitely.
because if you're stressed out and you're eating something that doesn't agree with your system, you got no choice but to hold water. Your body
That
doesn't want to let
makes
go of it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, cool.
Sweet. So remember that part.
What do you
I'm
think? What's gut health for you guys? Let's do that. Let's start with that.
So what is gut health?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is a loaded question. I guess the short answer for me essentially is proper digestion and absorption of nutrients in terms of...
Well, how important is it to somebody? Like just this quick little
Why is it important?
Yeah.
Body function. Just for you to be able to do everything that you're supposed to do, you need your gut to work optimally as possible. Pretty much your immune system starts in your gut. And if you don't have a healthy gut, if you don't have the right flora, microorganisms, if you don't have the right things going on, the nice balance of going on inside your gut, I mean, the rest of your body is going to be affected.
Absolutely. I mean, happy gut, happy life.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's basically...
I agree.
Super true.
Like you said, most of the immune system is in the gut, right? Like, for that reason, to protect.
And that's exactly, that's your first, I don't know if we got there last time, that's the first point of contact. Food, your first point, well, technically your mouth is your first point of contact, but the first point where that food is actually going to cross into your blood.
It's external. I mean, you're getting the food that's outside and I mean, that's the first line of defense. I mean, you get to chew it, but it's just chewed.
It's chewed.
It's still going through that stuff.
Still got to touch the insides.
Whew, man.
And that's why we have one of the most overfed and undernourished countries.
You know what? I'd be interested. Have you done your inflammation levels? What's that?
Oh, last time I did my inflammation levels, it was 0.37.
So not terrible.
Yeah.
So I have a client who is, and you'll see where I'm going with this, is on a statin, right? Mm-hmm. And her inflammation is 0.393.
Whoa.
So we know that when your body is inflamed, what do we produce more of to protect ourselves? Cholesterol, right? So she's just inflamed for however many years, because we know, I mean, and you know who this person is, but let's just, and you'll take my word for it, she has a good diet. She has a good diet.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Definitely like at least an A-, right? Even flirting with a solid A, right? But it's just, she's really inflamed. So when you take a snapshot of cholesterol numbers, right, it's going to show high cholesterol. Yeah. So then what is prescribed, there's a statin, right? And Lipitor is basically one of the most popular, right? So if you're just inflamed from anything, right, or from all of those things that Tony mentioned, then you're going to have higher cholesterol because your body's trying to protect itself. Even if you just had an injury, like if I let's say Dustin, right? Dustin tore his ACL, MCL, and he's having surgery today. Yeah. And good luck. Hopefully it turns out well. I've had 3 of those surgeries. So when he needs help, because it's a crazy recovery process, I'm definitely gonna help him out. But if we took his cholesterol snapshot, I bet you it'd be high, because his body's producing more cholesterol to protect himself.
So I love that you bring up cholesterol. I love that you bring up cholesterol. Reason being is that gut health. Okay, so this again, I get kind of sciencey, so I'm just gonna kind of preface this that I am gonna get a little sciencey with this here.
So we're gonna go full geek, is what she's saying.
Yes.
Oh wait, before you get geeky.
Yes.
So just as a sidebar, because Isaac mentioned Lipitor, I have a huge issue with anything that's going to cause unexplained muscle pain, tenderness or weakness, confusion, memory problems, fever, unusual tiredness, dark colored urine, because that's not good
Sleep
on any
issues.
spectrum. Yep, sleep issues, swelling, weight gain, urinating less. That means you're holding more water.
There it is.
Or not at all.
That's something to ask clients moving forward. First of all, what medications you're on. If a statin is how often do you go to the restroom? Right, some of them still might go a lot, so it would be a blood sugar issue, but still, like, it's just something to ask.
Increased thirst, increased urination, so it could go either way. You could not pee or you could pee all the time. Hunger or dry mouth, fruity breath, odor, drowsiness, dry skin, blurred vision, weight loss, or nausea, upper stomach pain, itching, loss of appetite, dark urine again, or mild pain, diarrhea, or nausea. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Dude, it's so funny when you hear like new medications on the I don't even watch TV anymore, but when I used to, you have commercials, right?
Yeah.
And this new drug for like asthma comes out, and or a headache or a migraine, and there shows the person super happy and living their life again, and then at the end, the dude will just ramble through the side effects, right? And you're like, geez, man. It's like, now you have metabolic syndrome, but at least your headache's gone, right? Like,
you may have sudden death, but your headache's gone.
Yeah.
Hey,
There you go.
there you
So
go.
that could be why your headache's gone.
I know,
Okay.
it's insane.
Cholesterol, go.
So yes, cholesterol. One thing that goes hand in hand with gut health is an increased intake of, not necessarily increased intake, but a proper intake of vegetables. That is going to absolutely help for you to have a very healthy gut. One reason being is fiber. Fiber is incredibly important, stupidly important in terms of gut health. But talking about cholesterol, one of the nice things about cholesterol is, or not cholesterol, but fiber, is that, let me kind of back up a little bit. So, in order to digest it's going to get really bad. Yeah, I'm trying to like make this as like understandable as possible. In order for your body to digest fats, which cholesterol is considered a fat, a lipid, in order for your body to digest this, you need bile from your gallbladder made by your liver. And so when that is dumped into the small intestine, emulsification happens, so everything gets mixed together, and it gets broken down, all of that wonderful fun things. What can happen with that bile is that the bile can be reuptaken back into the small intestine, go back to the liver, and it remakes the bile. Now, bile consists of cholesterol. Bile is made from cholesterol. So now, if you are reusing your bile, your body is not going to break down the cholesterol that you have in your body. Fun thing, your body makes cholesterol naturally. So if you have a high intake of cholesterol, your body's going to have a higher amount of cholesterol stored in the body. You don't necessarily need a crazy amount of excess cholesterol when your body's already making it, and if you're not excreting it like you should, you're not getting rid of any of it because you're just recycling your bile. So the nice thing about fiber is that when you intake fiber, the plant stanols and sterols and fibers and things like that bind to bile. So what ends up happening is it goes through the gut, the emulsification happens, fiber will bind to the bile, and it is excreted. Because fiber you can't break down. You're not going to break that down, so it's going to be excreted. So that binding forces your liver to make new bile because there's no bile being taken back up to just remake it. There's not a constant cycle of just reuse. So your liver is like, oh poop, like I need more bile. It takes the cholesterol from your body, remakes new bile, reduces your cholesterol levels. The exact same thing is done by resin medications, the resin type medications that reduce cholesterol. That is the exact same pathway that is done by those medications. Now, if you eat a proper intake of vegetables like you should be, you shouldn't have to take those medications.
So in essence, you just solved like 90% of people's problems.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes back to the why, because you always hear if you have high cholesterol, eat fiber, and that's why.
That's
Well,
why.
And where do people mess up?
They
Still mess up. Like, doctors are happy with, oh yeah, just do the Metamucil,
yeah.
right? And just stir that up every day. And I have an uncle who does that. He's like, no, I'm getting my fiber, I'm getting my 40 grams, I'm like above everybody, because the average right now is like 10 to 15.
It's stupid low.
Right? And he's like, I'm good. Doctor's happy, everybody's happy, but you're not fixing anything because it's one type of fiber.
Exactly.
Right? And
there are so many.
You're going to have certain gut bacteria, microbiota that needs that one type of fiber, so that's going to be good, but there's tons more.
There's psyllium, there's, oh wow, like all of them I just forgot.
Lignin,
Gums,
lignulin,
lignins, yeah, all those.
psyllium husk,
Yep. We have this in our PowerPoint.
resistant starch,
Oh,
He knew-
nice.
yeah, he knew
Awesome.
dextrin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So different
I was literally
types,
just going over
right?
this in class like not long
But
ago.
essentially, it's just eat your vegetables, eat
Exactly,
your fruits,
because you
and you're gonna
need
get
all
that
of
variety.
those types of fibers. You do, because
Yeah.
like you said, the gut bacteria do, some that are soluble, some that are non-soluble. A lot of times, they are, all soluble fibers are fermented by your gut bacteria, which that means your gut bacteria eats that soluble fiber. So that ends up being prebiotics for the probiotics that's in your stomach.
Yep.
Those prebiotics are incredibly important because it keeps those good gut bacteria alive and healthy and keep making things that they're supposed to, because you do actually get some different enzymes from the bacteria that's in your gut that your body does not make, and that those little enzymes from those bacteria in your gut break down some other things that your body can absorb. So those little bacteria in your gut are stupidly important. So there's a lot of things that you get from those. It's pretty awesome.
What was it? Like 90% of your body is bacteria? You're more bacteria than you are
Oh
human.
my gosh, yeah, you're absolutely, you're more
I wanna say,
microbiota
it's like
than
8 pounds
person,
of,
yeah.
like 8 of your pounds is like bacteria
Yeah.
or something like that. It's crazy.
You're mostly just...
It's over what's 100 trillion, man.
Yeah.
Like
just 100 trillion.
think about it, there's more in just in each of us,
Yeah.
right? With just me, there's more microbiota than there's ever been people on this planet ever.
It's crazy.
Nuts.
It's so crazy.
Well, when you put it that way, it sounds
That's
like
crazy.
some point it
though.
is.
That's
So,
crazy.
In essence, what you're basically saying is we're a small galaxy.
We are. How exciting
No,
is
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, I know.
And
it's like-
every 6 years we're a new galaxy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna go around
But-
telling people my
Oh my
body
gosh.
is a galaxy.
Yeah. So those people who the doctor says you need more fiber, Metamucil, good job. Keep taking it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But get some other vegetables and fruits in there, like hide them, especially vegetables. We want those complex carbs, not so much the simple carbs. So those complex vegetables, that's what you want to get in to add, get the variety.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's how you get nutrient deficiencies too, because you're getting your fiber from Metamucil, but you have no micronutrients attached to it. Here's my fiber, which is awesome. It's there. It's going to help with the cholesterol. It's going to help with clearing. It's going to help with rebuilding the gut bacteria. But you're not getting any nutrients, so the
But
nutrient
optimally,
absorption.
it's supposed to be together.
Yeah. There's a reason why we eat plants. Like it's
Well,
not.
We've been
Exactly.
doing it for thousands of years.
Like when you think about sugars and fiber, that when you have an
Shit,
apple,
millions.
that exactly.
2.5 millions.
So when you have fiber with an apple, so the sugar in how much is the sugar in the fiber? The sugar in the apple is less likely to be absorbed in larger amounts because the fiber does help to prevent sugar absorption. And so people are like, oh, well, then I'll eat a donut and some carrots. That's not how that works because they do not go together. They're not in the same object. Same thing for phytochemicals and antioxidants is that, yes, you can technically put them in a pill form, but they do not work the same way antioxidant-wise. They do not work the same way in the body when they are not in their true form. So the antioxidants you get from blueberries, that cannot just be extracted and put into a pill and be expected to work the same way because everything that's going on in that blueberry is needed to be able to give you those antioxidant properties.
Resveratrol.
Yeah,
That's the big
absolutely.
one in
It's
there.
crazy. I mean, it's amazing just
So
how
that
natural foods work.
resveratrol, they on a mice study, because you know how they do mice studies for us, because
Mhm. Because we're
oddly
mice.
similar DNA, right?
Mhm.
They said that they've had they on purpose injected the mice with so messed up with diabetes, right? But then they saved their lives. Then they got diabetes, they got fat,
You get diabetes.
right?
They
So they
look
get
like little balls.
so then they
like
get
this.
cardiovascular disease, right? They have
Yeah.
heart disease, but then they inject them with resveratrol. and it literally just switches. Like the body goes from killing itself to, oh, let's go this way. This way is life, right? It's crazy. And blueberries is one of the highest.
The only thing about that, though, is the amount of resveratrol
that
you
you
have
need
to take
exactly.
in is
It's
like
nuts. Yeah.
freaking stupid.
But think about how much we would have been getting. So I googled the earliest human, and it actually humanoids would be before humans, and that's 4.4 million years. So think about 4.4 million anything, and then think about how our gut has not changed in that amount of time. So we all know that there's that gut feeling, that gut instinct.
We just started using fire cooking 75,000 years ago.
Yeah. So in theory, assuming even you would have found meat and maybe it would have been spoiled. Maybe you would have found something that a lion had killed or a tiger had killed or a bear had killed. You'd pick it up and start eating it. So your gut bacteria would have been all sorts of super strong because you would have been able to process anything to stay alive. But going back to how much resveratrol you'd need to eat, you'd have to be eating and grazing on berries all day.
Well, and that's what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
our guts, when you think about it, people are like, oh, these foods, how bad can they be? We have 4.4 million years of evolution into our guts, and you invented a food yesterday that's going to nourish my body?
Nah.
Yeah. I mean,
and this
it's
is
logical.
This is where like those studies done on artificial sweeteners and how they affect your microbiota. They don't necessarily affect blood sugar, blah blah blah, right? But it's affecting your chemical, like the chemicals there are affecting your microbiota, and then we know how important it is. It's just so much is happening, and it's running from that.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about all the things that we can create and all the things that we do, a food source is one of those things. If we could truly create food, we would have solved world hunger. But if you can create a food, but we know it's a profit thing. We can't make a battery that lasts more than a month, or in our case, like 15 minutes. Sorry about that. But yet we were saying, here's a food. You're not. I mean, you survived for millions of years off this. Like, I need to have, because you guys have heard this too. I need to have my Coke at night. I need to have a bowl of ice cream, or I need to have this.
Yeah.
There is no way that you would have made it any amount of years before refrigerators or before Coke.
Yeah.
We just bring you back to the 1800s. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So like fast forward a few million years
Yeah.
to when we're born, right? And how important that is, whether you're born via vaginal or C-section.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're vaginal, you're going to have a lot of microbiota, gut flora from your mother, right? But they've shown that if you have a C-section, you don't have nearly as much. It's not hers, it's more the doctors and nurses, what's on their skin.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah,
That
but
makes sense.
then it's not high enough.
Yeah.
But how many kids and children, or every child, is on basically an antibiotic the first few years of their life?
Yeah, and you can watch that.
And what do antibiotics do to our microbiota?
I mean, usually...
And that's a tie-in right there, like antibiotics.
Well, because,
Right?
they say...
Antibacterial.
Antibacteria.
Yeah.
It sucks because, as a... Whoops.
Man, I did the TENS unit on my legs last
Stop
night,
making noise.
and I'm like a little sore. It's
Sorry,
so
guys.
crazy.
Sorry, guys. So that's interesting that, you bring that up with the antibiotics, because if you think about it in terms, as a woman, if you take antibiotics, you get a yeast infection. And so you're more likely to get a yeast infection.
Because of
all
that.
of your poor little bacteria are like, and they die. And then,
they're like, it's like nuclear. It's a nuclear
Exactly.
bomb.
And so everything that's not necessarily good is allowed to grow, because what you have...
Well, that grows first.
Exactly.
Because
Which is
of
the
our bad
fastest
diet.
thing.
Because of our bad diet. Or our bad habits, whatever. Or what we're exposed to.
But this goes, and I'm huge on going back to these rants. So let me understand this right. We are somehow genetically capable of keeping ourselves alive and providing good balance without medications. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
By doing what? Eating our complex carbs, which are vegetables, because those phytochemicals, the types of fiber, the flavonoids, and berries or nuts and berries, or all just everything that we're getting from that is just, what does it do for us? Well, it makes everything tick. The way it's
Exactly.
supposed to.
Everything that you need
Well, and then also we're not
from
getting
natural foods.
Yeah, and then then there's none of the bad either because there wasn't processed stuff, right? So if it's basically in a wrapper, bagged, or canned, just turn the other way, right? Limit it to 20% and eventually try and get that down lower and lower.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, it's crazy. So like, if you were born via C-section right now, ask yourself, man, I need to start definitely getting more probiotics, but more important than that, you got to have the probiotics food, which are the prebiotics that come from the complex carbs. So, yeah, like start. Rhonda Patrick, she mentioned a probiotic that she took that has 450 billion units. It's shipped to you cold.
Yeah.
The where you get it from is like a lab research, like legit. So it's like a legit system. And then Rhonda Patrick, that she's not gonna just give it like do anything stupid.
Yeah.
So 450 billion, like that's crazy. What ours has 20, 25, 30?
Ours is 40 billion.
40.
It is 40 billion.
So it's 40, but
Yeah.
like this is 450.
Yeah, because it'll survive.
And it's shipped cold, so everything's still alive when you're taking it and everything. And she said that she sent. There's also another place where apparently you can send a stool sample.
Huh.
And she sent that in,
that's awesome.
and then 30 days later, after she took this, and of course continuing her diet, right, which is high in complex carbs and everything, she saw different forms of microbiota starting to grow that wasn't even there the first time. She always had a decent diet, but it was just crazy with, again, yeah, like Tony said, back then you were going to eat spoiled meat because that's all you're going to eat, but your microbiota to keep you alive from doing that is through the roof. Like it's keeping you alive.
Cool.
Crazy.
I had something I was going to say. I was going to go into something about dogs and kids, but there was something else one of you said.
Dude, no, dogs and kids, it's
Yeah.
perfect because you're introducing new
Bacteria.
microbiota to
Yeah.
your kids. So that's something that you're giving them antibiotics the first few years of their life, right? Because they're more susceptible to things. And so you're killing off their
Move
things.
forward a little. There we go. I think like half of you is cut off.
That's fine.
So you're throwing off nuclear bombs, but then here comes, Aries, Athena, our animals. Cats would count for that too, right?
Yeah, they would.
They do,
Pets.
especially my little nonsense.
Because they go
monster
outside
right
and what do they bring in?
bring in
Stuff
bacteria,
that's in the
they bring in
soil, stuff that they're licking her faces,
Yeah.
their faces.
Well, I remember that when he was younger. I used to get on my dogs all the time for this. They would lick, and one of my dogs has a tongue that's like this big.
Oh my
for a
gosh.
human face, not for a child's
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Oh my goes.
So like when he licks your face, like you can't breathe because it goes no.
Oh, when Aries makes out with me?
Yeah, and he would do that to Ava,
sometimes.
and the kid's never sick. Like I mean, she's like never sick. But you gotta wonder how much of that time where her face was being mauled by a
Because
dog.
those first few months are so
Yeah.
important.
Just like walking up to her, like, and she would laugh, and her face would be soaked. I'm like
that's gross.
that. I can't. I know. I understand, but gross.
Yeah. Ugh.
So gross.
Yeah, because I grew up with dogs. I grew up with dogs. I grew up with.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up having cats by the time I was in like high school. But I mean, now I've got. Hey guys, so I might have 4 cats now.
Oh, you're going to keep it?
I don't know.
You might as well. It's got a good home. It's already there.
You already know she's keeping it
Yeah.
because just like a few days ago.
You named it. Once you name it, you have to keep
named
it.
it. I did.
That's
the rules.
crazy. You messed up.
Like, I'm sorry. Like we had Katie and I had this
And
conversation.
even then,
long
just a
time
few
ago.
days ago, from no, and then in a few days, yeah, it's like, that's going to be a
Yeah.
yes soon.
I don't know. We'll see.
We got
So I
road
have a kid.
fixed, and it was like we needed
Unless
a name.
someone,
I was
like something falls in your lap where they're like, I want a kitty. And you're like, okay.
Perfect, I've got
here you
one.
go. His name is this, by the way.
His name is Steve.
Yeah, name is Steve. And
Is
then-
it Steve?
My dad named him Steve. He's
That's
sitting
funny.
there in my lap. My dad was like, he looks like a Steve. And I'm like,
Steve.
Steve. He was like, Steve. From Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Steve.
Is he the scientist?
My dad?
No, the movie.
Oh, no. I was like, my dad is not a scientist.
No.
No, he's the monkey. The monkey can only say his
Oh.
name. He just says Steve.
Gotcha.
He's a Steve.
Yeah.
It's funny. Anyway, so I have a
Man.
kitten named Steve, sort of.
He's your kid.
So-
Just accept it.
But now I have, But I mean, this little
It's good
monster,
Good. That's good.
good for gut bacteria.
Let's do what.
He's all over my face all the time.
What is a bad? So obviously we know what a bad diet's killing off good bacteria, giving an environment for bad bacteria to start growing.
Okay.
So then that gut flora. So people who are obese, right, have a terrible balance.
No.
So what are the first steps we should be doing for them? or they should be doing for themselves,
Yeah.
right?
Biggest thing, introduce more fiber, because that's the easiest thing to do. I mean, when you think about how easy it is to change your bacteria, it's at that point it's a war. So when you think about good bacteria versus bad bacteria, if you're putting something in there that's going to force your body to cultivate more bacteria, then exactly, you're creating that reinforcement. So it may take some time. It may be like broccoli.
Well, we definitely know it takes a few months to change the blood panel, right?
Yeah.
So that probably same thing for the.
And the big thing there too is like when the bad bacteria starts to die off, it'll increase like depression, anxiety, and other things because those foods that are associated with that feel good come from a negative food source. You're getting lots of sugars in.
That's
So
true.
when you take those sugars in, your body goes, "Yay, I'm happy and excited! Yay, I'm feeding the bad bacteria! Yay, I'm
And that's
starving
where
the
the
good
healthy
bacteria."
fats come in to help
Yep.
that. Yeah. And micronutrients.
And that's why I think
Potassium,
we said
magnesium,
before,
calcium.
like when you look at our cravings, when your body starts craving carbohydrates, it would have craved a complete carbohydrate. So it would have been a carb, a fiber, and vitamins. So when you start craving that, and you put like a gummy bear in there, well, it's straight sugar that gets absorbed here and never makes it into your intestines to feed the bacteria. So now the body says, okay, I need more carbs. Okay, let me eat another gummy bear. And your body goes, no, I need more carbs. You're like, give me a gummy bear. Like, I'm just keep doing this. And that you're never feeding the bacteria.
Because the education isn't there that you need food, real food, not food that's just made a few decades ago.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, some of those
decades,
things, like,
Well, technically everything.
everything's relatively new.
Yeah.
I mean, anything you would find in a package is relatively new for our systems.
Within a century.
Yeah.
Right?
More or less, yeah.
More or less, maybe a little bit.
1970s.
I mean, we started growing wheat in large amounts for a while now.
Yeah.
But even then, it
even
wasn't
that's
anything
relatively
because
new.
we were still eating other things with it. We were still high exercise.
Like 20,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in a spectrum of 4 billion years, I would say most of us, should be adapted to it. But the genetically modified wheat, we haven't started genetically
Now
modifying
that's
stuff
different because
until-
that's relatively new. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have no idea where that's going.
So yeah, and we're not going to adapt to this new diet for another thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Like, we'll make it that far.
No. And you guys know what gut bacteria eats when there's no fiber, right?
What does it eat when there's no fiber?
Your intestinal wall.
Oh, that's right. Because then you're more susceptible to leaky
That's
gut.
right, exactly. The mucus
IBS,
on the
diverticulitis, all of that.
Exactly. So it wants to survive. So your body, and I've said this before, I've said this to clients, your body's built to survive, 100%. So if I do not have food, I have a battery.
Oh, absolutely. Body's built to survive. There's triage theory.
Yeah. If I have no food source for my bacteria will find a food source, which is the mucosal membrane of your intestines, and then the intestinal wall itself.
Bacteria's like, I'm going to get mine.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to do it. And then that's it. And that's why, like, a lot of times, and I would wonder, there's got to be a correlation between gut health and they did a study after World War II, and a lot of the vets came back. They would feed them, and then they would end up dropping dead because they were starved for so long when they were in internment camps and everything when they were captured. There has to be something, and I haven't seen a study on it, but I'm going to look it up. As far as why, when you introduce food to a body that hasn't been fed, it just shuts off. I'm assuming it was probably had to do with the rate of eating or something.
That's what I always assumed, is it was just like eating too much.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if they get starved because the bacteria eats what comes in, again, in order to survive. Because your bacteria wants to survive. It doesn't really care about you. You're just the shell.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So I'm kind of
Well,
curious.
dude, but yeah, bacteria it's going to be around even when we're gone.
Yeah, it becomes the next thing.
Yeah. And that's where the antibiotics, like, kind of the superbugs come in.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's superbugs that are in the restroom, literally, that,
MRSA.
yeah. Is that the one?
Yeah.
MRSA, yeah.
And
It's
then the one that's in soil?
Yeah, MRSA is the one that was running through gyms for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't be saying that on here. They fixed MRSA, it's fine. It's gone.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. No big deal.
It's
Regardless, eat your complex carbs, keep
Yeah.
your gut health high. We have a probiotic downstairs, right?
Yeah,
But
that doesn't-
See, but the other thing is too is that, I mean, I think taking a probiotic supplement is fantastic. But I think the only thing I don't like about probiotic supplements is that those are usually freeze dried. Types
definitely.
Of things.
Most of it,
Yeah.
most supplements are whack.
Exactly. So the only thing is that that little pill may say it's got 40 billion, but chances are maybe a fourth to a half are actually alive.
Yeah.
So you're not getting as much as you think. So that's why when there's a whole bunch of them in there, you're really not getting as many as you think.
Yeah.
Taking it in a natural form, which would be kombucha, from yogurt,
Sauerkraut.
from sauerkraut, from kimchi, Those are excellent sources of probiotics.
Yeah.
My
Really
personal
good Korean
favorite
diet.
being, my personal favorite being kombucha. I grew kombucha for a little while, but I killed my SCOBY because I'm a terrible SCOBY mom. But I forgot about it, and it like sat in my pantry forever, and I was like, I don't want to look at you because I feel really bad because I stopped feeding you. But essentially what kombucha is just, it's like a fungus, kind of like a bacterial colony that just ferments sugared tea, is what it does. And so the bacteria, because I mean it's going to be all in the water, when you drink it, you get that bacteria in your gut as well. So I mean you're talking about lots and lots of really good, wonderful, healthy bacteria. Another one is kefir. There's water kefir and there's milk kefir.
Paul was drinking goat kefir last night. Goat milk
I've never
kefir,
tried
something
goat
like
kefir.
that. Yeah.
I like milk
Oh,
kefir. I think it's
dude
good.
was like in the conference. He's just like, and it's all like the consistency.
Yeah.
It's just and you're like, whoa, is that like white Pepto-Bismol?
That's
What is
crazy.
that, man? That looks. I'm like.
I like kefir though, because
I haven't
kefir to
tried
me
it. I
tastes
still
like
tried it.
yogurt. Like,
Yeah.
'cause there's milk
I'm
and
not
kefir.
a fan of yogurt.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you don't like yogurt, then
I'm
you
not a
won't
fan
like
of
kefir.
yogurt. Yeah.
But they do there's water kefir as well. My mom grew water kefir, and honestly, they're like little jelly balls.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of cute. And so they're these like little jelly colonies of bacteria. They form this little, symbiotic, colony, and they multiply. So there's another little jelly ball, another little jelly ball, another little jelly ball. And so they'll multiply. And the same thing, they feed off of like sugared water.
Yeah.
And when you drink it, I mean, you get all the probiotics, all the natural, everything from that. And it's fantastic. So that would be my preference in terms of incorporating more probiotics to your diet. The only thing about adding probiotics is there are people who shouldn't add them in if you are immunocompromised, or if you have cancer and you are going through chemotherapy, immunocompromised, too young or too old. I don't think that you should be consuming that, just because that is still technically bacteria. So I wouldn't want those age ranges or those issues to consume that. But having it in a natural form like that, if you are a normal, relatively healthy individual, I mean, when I was drinking the kombucha pretty regularly, I mean, the difference is night and day on how you feel.
Yeah.
And you don't get bloated, and I don't, when I was, I felt like just good. You just feel good. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's why whenever Rhonda Patrick talks about that probiotic that was shipped cold, it's like, man, that's important, because a lot of things, it's just the supplement industry we know isn't very well regulated. So,
but that is important, because I mean, cold usually will slow down the respiration rates of bacteria. So what ends up happening is that they live longer, but it doesn't kill them. It doesn't necessarily kill them. So that having it cold versus freeze dried, or things like that and packaged, the more likely that 45 billion that you're looking at is
450 billion.
Oh, 450. Geez, Louise,
Yeah.
that is a lot.
No, I'm telling you, it's
What do you
crazy.
think that pill is?
Yeah.
And so-
I don't
I know
remember.
ours is
It's crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but that's fantastic. That's really neat, because
That's
then you're going to get
But
more out
there's
of that.
actual studies now just released. I read one that shows that probiotics aren't absorbed because just the bad bacteria is so high that it's just like, nah, man, you guys aren't enough.
Yeah.
So it goes back to get your natural
Get your actual
probiotics from natural sources.
Exactly. And you would have to do it more than just drink one kombucha, because again, if you do have a lot of bad bacteria,
Goes back to the lifestyle.
exactly.
Yeah, goes back
If
to
you
the
have a lot of bad bacteria, like you said, I mean, it is a battle. The bad bacteria will overpower because there's more of them.
Now,
so you need to do it regularly.
What's your take on the kombucha that you can get at the store? Because it's like everything's ruined.
Yeah, I think
You know,
if
so
you're going to do
because
kombucha,
people are going to hear that, they're going to be like, kombucha, I'm not going to grow mine, so I'm going to go buy it, right? So, but which one should they buy?
my recommendation we definitely go with an organic kombucha. Only reason being is because when you utilize an organic tea, which usually when it means organic is that means is that the teas and the ingredients put into the water is going to be good for those bacteria to consume. So it's usually going to be organic types of sugars. It's going to be like palm sugar, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be organic teas, so less likely that there was, pesticides and things having been on that. You're going to have a better output of bacteria with that, and healthier bacteria with an organic kombucha. Now, I would also say I would prefer, if you have the option to do a local kombucha, I would do that as well.
That would be the best, probably.
Only reason why is because you're going to have something that's a fresher product.
Yeah. It's not shipping 500 or 2,000 miles.
Exactly. So if you do have an option of having local, being in San Antonio, we actually do have an amazing local kombucha company. It is Element. Look, yay, you were right on it. Element Kombucha.
I was looking to see if it was organic.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, but I don't
I don't know if theirs is organic, but they are local, and their kombuchas are pretty darn tasty. But the only other thing is that, I mean, it is bacteria, so they do die.
Kombucha has alcohol too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is fermented, so if you smell it, it'll probably smell a little bit like wine.
Yeah.
Because it is fermented.
That's what I have a client, or she's not a client anymore, but she loves wine. But so what we would do is we'll get her wine glass and she'll put kombucha in there.
That's
and
awesome.
she just still like treats it like it's a night of relaxation because she loves
I mean,
wine
it's
so much.
one of those things. I mean, it does have very, very, very minor amounts of alcohol. So if you are sensitive,
She's slamming up.
she's had like 12. It does have a minor amount of alcohol. I think it's like 0.1% or something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but if you are sensitive
like the
to
average
alcohol,
beer is what, 3, 4?
3 to 4, yeah.
Okay.
3 to 4%.
Crazy.
So if you are sensitive to alcohol, that is something to be aware of because it is fermented. It does have a mild amount of alcohol in there. It is carbonated as well. I do notice that if I let it sit in my fridge for a little bit longer, it's like extra carbonated, so it continues to ferment. So I do notice that.
Yeah.
But the only other thing is that with a fresher kombucha, more of the bacteria are going to be alive.
Yeah, which is
So, yeah.
obviously more important.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I was trying to still find if it was organic.
Organic or not.
I don't think I've actually. I don't know. I think about it. I don't know if their particular logo had organic or anything like that.
I was looking at the pictures and everything, and nothing says organic. Any of them.
I think the other best thing to do is to eat seasonal foods as opposed to just eating the same like foods that you're eating throughout the whole year. Like eat in season, right?
And that's
again,
very important.
if you can go local, because obviously you're gonna get seasoned fruits and vegetables, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Because that's exposed to our environment, the same environment that we're exposed to, right? The soil, blah, blah, blah. So that would be the best thing. Farmers markets.
I was going to say farmers markets is a really good one, but there's also, you have to look for them, but I was a part of a like produce co-op kind of thing. I don't remember, I need to find the email because I haven't done it in a while. But it was like $25 for this huge crate of like seasonal vegetables that you just cut up and freeze them. I mean, literally, we were talking about like a crate for $25 that would last you like all month. And it was like, I remember the couple of them that I got, it was like squash, there was lettuce, there was tomatoes, tomatillos, peppers, onions, potatoes.
How long would that last? How often would you get it?
I would do it it was once a month.
Okay.
But you could also choose a smaller one, and I think the big one was like $25, and then the small one was like $15 or something like that, and that was like depending upon how many vegetables and stuff.
Seriously.
That makes just get it weekly.
Yeah.
And so, but it was like, I
Twice a
don't
week.
remember. It was just one of those things that this lady was friends with some like local farmers.
Because that would be awesome.
Yeah, because she was like friends with local farmers, and she would just they would give her, a lot of this stuff. And
Co-op directory.
yeah, so I mean, do like a vegetable, you could do like a co-op. And it had fruits in there too, it was oranges and stuff like that. Not oranges, I'm thinking of apples, it was apples. And stuff. It was cool. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I did not go through all the vegetables. I was like, okay, I can't do a big crate because it's too much for me.
Yeah.
To go for a month. But
now that you got the blender, you can blend it all up.
I know gosh, that's true. That's fair.
Because I'm about to say, like, that was where my head went. I was like, I can blend everything.
I know, you're like, whoa!
I never have to chew my
I
shakes
never
again.
have to chew my vegetables again.
Veggies, what it is, it's just drink them.
Exactly. Oh, and I have a client who she's been doing the super shakes, and she's like, this is the most amazing thing ever. She's like, it's awesome. She loves it.
I think a lot of people just need to see that shakes can be easy. Because when you
They're
look
so
at it, it's,
easy.
when you think about our shakes, even if you use Metamucil, but you put other vegetables in there, or other things in there.
Get the plain Metamucil if you put it in your shake.
Yeah, don't mix the orange or whatever.
Ruin it.
But add fiber to your shakes, and it's all the micronutrients you need. It's literally just liquid, vegetable,
It's crazy. There's just
protein
so
powder
much
if you
going
want it.
on. And then the healthy fats that you put into it. That's just, and then you
That's
could
awesome.
throw your supplements, the extra fiber, the glutamine, right? The UCAN, if you
Mix
got
it all
UCAN, right?
Mhm.
Greens, clients who have greens who had it.
Yeah, I
Coconut
use
oil,
the
people who had
those
coconut
life
oil.
greens.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
this way
awesome.
you're never like, oh, I can't eat that. Huh?
San Antonio
Take
Spurs
pills.
drink them. Yeah, it's awesome. A lot of sports organizations seems, but just the Spurs are really close.
Yeah.
Give them
I
a
think
shout
that's
out.
awesome. Yeah.
Crazy.
Shout out Element, the Spurs.
I know, we're giving a lot of shout outs
Yeah.
today.
Someone watches these. Get a phone call tomorrow. So, are they endorsing you? No. Oh.
No, nobody's endorsing us, unfortunately. Just kidding. I did have a client tell me one time, because here I like that little PDF, that little diagram of what your plates should look like. Half your plate's vegetables, and then the breakdown of the starch and everything. On my Instagram, I had posted recently a meal that I had made the other day, and it was like some pan-seared chicken breast, a small amount of rice, and like a heaping pile of like roasted Brussels sprouts, because I was like, I need some Brussels sprouts today, and they were so good. But it was like half the plate, what everything should look like. They're roasted with some olive oil, so I had everything in there. I've got some starch, got some complex carbs, got my protein, and I've got my fats and everything with what was cooked in there. It is incredibly doable to have something like that at every meal. And I've had people tell me, well, that picture, that's not feasible. That's not feasible to eat that many vegetables. It's not feasible to eat like that at every meal. It's not.
So start smaller.
And so I was like, okay, well, what about it? Because I disagree. And I was just like, I don't agree with you. I was like, but why do you think that it's not feasible to have, like, what about it? Like, that's a lot of vegetables. And I don't know if people, because, like, the picture on there, which we should probably we'll show you guys what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'll screenshot her picture. I'll put it right there. Like, that's what this little spot has become.
It's like picture spot?
Yeah, picture spot.
Yay.
I was like, I need a place to put it, and it's like the perfect backdrop because it's not too light. So if I write something there, it's
Oh,
there.
yay. Good.
So-
Okay, good. So we'll show you what we're talking about. But I think what the thing about it is that when you look at that picture, oh my gosh, I turned the sound off. What's going on? Sorry, guys. I apologize. That's twice now. My bad. The thing about it, I think, is that because it's colored and it's like exactly half the plate, people are thinking, oh, it has to touch the sides. It has to be like, because I mean, if you look at the picture, which I guess we could put that up too in the picture from the meal that I made the other day, it's half my plate of Brussels sprouts. It wasn't too much food because I'm the kind of person that just cannot eat a lot in one sitting, but I can eat a lot throughout the day. I just can't eat a lot in one sitting. But for me, that was a perfect amount of food. It was a small amount of rice, maybe a little less than half a cup. It was probably about 2.5, 3 cups of Brussels sprouts, and then probably about 6 ounces of chicken. The only thing I didn't eat was like maybe 2 Brussels sprouts because I was like, okay, now I'm getting full. But it is completely feasible, especially for somebody like me who cannot eat a lot in one sitting. And so I'm like, if I can't eat a lot in one sitting and I can make that happen, it is absolutely feasible to do it every meal. Just because that diagram looks daunting, which it does, it's like, holy cow, that's literally half of my plate is vegetables. Well, yeah, but I mean, if you take out some of those mashed potatoes that you got on your plate, take out some of that rice, or maybe just take that out entirely. If that's too much food for you, just take out the starch entirely. And if you want to replace a little bit of starch in another meal, like I found a really cool recipe of like sweet potato. It's a chipotle shredded chicken, like in a sweet potato boat. And I'm like, that looks so delicious. And so, but there's some starch in that. So you could always, there's different ways to do that. But it is absolutely feasible to eat enough vegetables at every meal to be able to feed the gut bacteria.
Yeah.
It is absolutely feasible. And it's just, I don't like that looking at something and just being like, oh, I can't do that. Well, why not? Why not? Why can't you? Well, that's a lot of food. Okay, well, please don't start off with half of your plate with vegetables if you don't eat any vegetables right now because your body will hate you.
No.
Your body will hate you, I promise. But to get to that point, you will not be hungry. But to get to that point, it does take time, and you've got to train your body to be used to consuming that higher amount of fiber, as well as that maybe bulk of food, because all of that fiber will help to keep you full, and everything like that. So it's nice, and then incorporating the fat and everything like that too. So if you cook your vegetables in fat delays your gastric emptying. So for your stomach to empty into your small intestines, having fat in your stomach delays that process. So having that little bit of fat on the vegetables and the fiber helps to make you feel fuller. On top of that, throw some protein in there, and you've got like satiety for days. Not really, but for for a while. I mean, you feel very full and very, very satisfied. It's awesome.
Recap.
Yeah. So basically, you can put down a whole pizza, and you should be able to put down some veggies. Because that's one thing that blows my mind. That's why I started getting all antsy. I'm like, you can eat a whole half pizza.
Yeah, the
and 2
overeat
beers
for the
and
things
then,
that they. Yeah.
Exactly, that's true. Like I've eaten like a whole medium pizza by myself. If I can eat a whole medium pizza, mind you, I hadn't eaten like all day. This was back in college, like before college, not now college. I'm like, I'm in college now.
It goes back to like that fad diet podcast. Like, how important is it? I mean, if you're not seeing results, if you're plateaued, if whatever, start with your gut health. Happy gut, happy life.
Yeah.
Right. Use the resources we said, and start. Yeah, complex vegetables. That's the goal. Half the plate, and start with what you can manage.
Start small and build up.
Yeah.
Okay, so technically we're done, but I do want to bring something up really quick. So I ate bugs this past weekend.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it was really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I ate barbecue dry roasted crickets.
Yeah, you said you ate crickets.
I ate barbecue dry roasted crickets,
That's
which
awesome.
tasted like barbecue chips. It was crazy. It was interesting. And so I ate that. I'm going to put a video up on YouTube, so I guess we can put the link below so you guys can watch me.
That's awesome.
Watch me eating bugs.
That's so crazy.
So I tried that, and they also had granola, which with what had ground up, I think it was also crickets, ground up crickets in the granola, but it was so good. Like, you couldn't even take nothing. I mean, of course, honestly, to be fair, we kind of all eat ground up bugs in just about everything. I mean, there's a decent amount of ground up bugs in flour and things like that, but it was just granola, and it had the ground up crickets in that, and it had some little bit of honey and some berries and stuff, and it tasted like granola. I was like, can I have another? Because that was really good. And then I tried a little protein bar that was made with cricket flour, and I learned how to grow my own mealworm farm. So
that's cool.
I'm honestly like this close to starting a mealworm farm so I can eat mealworms. Like, I'm like this close because I really I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I'm kind of interested in just like the protein sources, because bugs have stupid high amounts of calcium and all kinds of nutrients and things like that. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of wished that there was mealworms for me to try, but I kind of want to do it. Or not, because, or if I don't eat them, like, the whole point of this whole seminar was to talk about utilizing bugs to break down waste. And so we have so much organic waste going into landfills and things like that, which cause a lot of issues. So, but with bugs, if you utilize the bugs with the organic waste to break down the organic waste and then feed the bugs to livestock, we don't ever have to eat them.
Yeah.
But that's one way to get rid of a lot of our waste, to put it into a good, healthy food source for our livestock.
Instead of feeding it the crap that we're feeding it. It's
Well,
like
exactly.
so many birds with one stone.
Well, if you think about it too, one, that saves a lot of farming land, because it takes so much to feed chickens, to feed, fish. With fish, I did not know this, but with fish, the fish that are farmed, they catch fish, break it down, and feed it to the fish that we're farming. So why not just feed them insects? So if they are going to be, eating protein, like, they're carnivores, then why not just feed them insects? Insects would be a better food source for them versus going out and fishing, catching their food, and then feeding the fish you catch. That's so silly.
I don't eat seafood, man. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love seafood. Oh, I love seafood.
For all that reason, there's too much trickery behind it.
There's a lot of crazy stuff. Well, the only thing that bringing
it's
up the
things
seafood,
like
though,
that,
is that if you do want to try bugs, if you do have a shellfish allergy, you can't have insects, just because insects typically have chitin, and most people are allergic to chitin.
Some people have a lot of shellfish allergies.
Yeah, shellfish allergies, or if you're allergic to dust mites, that's another thing. It's a little bit similar, so be careful. But it was really cool. It was really cool. So I can definitely say I've tried crickets.
Yeah.
I've tried crickets. It was pretty fascinating.
That's pretty awesome.
But yeah.
I'm going to go hunt down some bugs. Send the dogs out for
Put
me.
it on everybody's
Yeah.
food.
My dog does that anyhow. She hunts down bugs.
So do the cats.
Oh,
The cats
yeah,
eat
too.
everything, yeah.
Brings them.
Well, because David doesn't like spiders, and so I'm always like, look, 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 and they're just like, doo, 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 doo. Of course, they play with it before they kill it. And I'm like, just eat it, please. You're making me feel bad.
But
And so
that ultimately goes to, like, when you think about it, like bugs feeding other things, which then feed us,
Yeah.
would have been the natural order
Food
of
chain.
things.
That's the way it's supposed
exactly, and it's one big happy lifestyle. And so the lady who, which we'll put her name, I don't know how to say it. She's French. She's from Canada. But we'll put her name in the comments below if you guys want to look into, the research and stuff that she's doing. It'll be somewhere down there.
Yeah.
And but she was talking about that close to her home there is this awesome like mushroom farm. They grow, I don't remember the name of the mushroom for it, but they were gigantic. And so there's a mushroom farm, but then like right across the way is where they break down.
Landfill.
Yeah, not quite a landfill, but they break down organic waste. And so she was like, well, why can't we just connect the two, because you can utilize the bugs and the leftovers and everything from the bugs, utilize it as fertilizer for the mushroom farm, grow the mushrooms, feed the mushrooms to us, and it's all just one big happy lifestyle, because it was just really cool. It was really cool. Everything that she said was fascinating.
That's how it was back then.
Mm-hmm.
We ate whatever they ate, and they were eating.
They were eating what
They
were
weren't
supposed
eating.
to.
They weren't in a pen being grown in layers or millions or hundreds to a pen. So it was a good everything, good lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really easy, like, to grow mealworms.
That's
Because I want to eventually raise chickens, and so it's like I'm thinking about that too, is like, maybe
Speaking
having
that.
to feed them, mealworms and things like that too, and then, I could always feed them as well.
That's true.
So that's pretty neat.
That's awesome.
If you guys aren't grossed out yet.
Yeah. So now if you're not grossed out, hit the share button down here and the like button over there.
Absolutely. Please share this video with anybody who you think would benefit from this information. Please like and subscribe so that you guys can stay up to date for the information that we put out. Hopefully we won't have any other camera dying incidents again.
It is
But yeah.
perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Ladies.
Thanks for checking us out. If you like this, go ahead, like it, share it, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram.